Number 5. In 1885, a farming assistant named John Larson spent his Christmas day with his employers, Patrick and Matilda Rooney, an older couple who lived in Illinois. Throughout the day, Larson and the couple shared stories, drinks, and participated in a usual Christmas holiday. That is, until later on in the evening. After everyone had gone to bed for the evening, Larson awoke in the very late hours due to a coughing fit that had been spurred by some dust in the air. He eventually was able to clear his lungs and fell back asleep. Though, when he awoke the next morning, he found that Patrick had passed away in his sleep, and there was a thick layer of soot surrounding his pillow. He searched the room for Matilda, but found no trace of her. Larson went into the kitchen of the home and found a large hole that had been burnt into the flooring, with what appeared to be a human foot just beside it. A large pile of ash could be seen inside the hole, and this was all that was left of Matilda Rooney. It seemed as though Matilda had become the victim of a phenomenon which we've discussed in a previous video: spontaneous human combustion. An unexplainable event in which a human simply burst into flames without warning. It's believed that Matilda had likely ignited and burned at a temperature of over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, though there were no other signs of damage in the home aside from the burnt hole in the floor. It was later confirmed that Patrick had, as expected, died due to smoke inhalation, with this also being a likely cause for Larson's coughing fit. While the idea that Larson actually killed the couple had been entertained, there's absolutely no evidence that this actually took place. And as with most cases surrounding spontaneous human combustion, Matilda had been heavily drinking the day before. Researchers are unsure of why this causes certain people to become flammable, but it's certainly a characteristic widely seen in cases such as this. Number 4. In 1973, 20-year-old Kevin Showalter and his girlfriend were driving home late on Christmas Eve when they suddenly got a flat tire. Kevin then pulled the car over and was in the middle of changing out the spare tire when he was struck and killed by an oncoming vehicle. Kevin's mother was then informed of this, and she headed to the police station to collect her son's personal belongings. Though when she arrived, she was informed by police that all of his belongings had already been lost, and that because of this, his death would likely remain unsolved. For obvious reasons, this didn't sit well with Kevin's mother, and she began to suspect that the officers may have been involved in some sort of a cover-up. This is because the former mayor of the city had actually been a suspect in the murder, as he was one of only a handful of people who was passing by the scene of the crime at the time that it was reported, and his alibi for the evening contradicted numerous eyewitness accounts of what had actually happened. Additionally, a jury also believed that the mayor was likely the culprit, though no one could find enough evidence to actually link him to the crime. Eventually, in 1979, another townsman by the name of Paul Hansen came forward and stated that he was the one that killed Kevin, though the little evidence that was available proved otherwise, and Hansen was never convicted for the crime. Later on, when Hansen passed away in 2005, he left a suicide note once again claiming responsibility for the death of Kevin, which resulted in the case being reopened. Though again, all of the available evidence still indicated that there was no possible way that Hansen could have killed Kevin. Additionally, when the case was reopened, it gathered public attention from numerous news organizations. Though when these sources requested information regarding the case, the requests were denied. Additionally, the official files of the investigation into the mayor of the city had all mysteriously gone missing. To this day, no one has been officially accused of being the killer. Number 3. In December of 1996, a woman was found dead lying on top of a plastic sheet in Virginia near a cemetery. She was estimated to have been about 60 years old and carried no ID. A toxicology report concluded that there were large amounts of alcohol and Valium in her system, and a plastic bag had been found taped around her head. Her official cause of death was determined to have been asphyxiation, with alcohol and Valium simply being overkill. The strangest part of this story is that no one has any idea who this woman is or where she came from. On her body, investigators found a handwritten note that requested that her body be cremated, with two $50 bills being included with the note in order to cover the expenses. Additionally, police found a miniature Christmas tree that appeared the woman had decorated and placed next to her body. She also had a pair of headphones on and had been listening to a comedy routine while she suffocated. The final, most disturbing part of this entire story was that she was found in the portion of a cemetery where infants are actually buried, with her motive behind this being a complete mystery. Number 2. 19-year-old Rhonda Hickson worked at a steel company in North Carolina, and on December 22, 1981, she attended a Christmas party that the business was hosting, and was seen leaving the party afterward with two close friends. After she dropped her friends off at home, she headed to her own home, which was only a few miles away. Though in a drastic turn of events, Rhonda became a victim of homicide, being shot a single time by an extremely powerful rifle from an undetermined location. The bullet was so powerful and the shot was so precise that it managed to travel through the trunk of the car, through the back seat, through the driver's seat, through her ribs and into her heart, causing her to instantly go into cardiac arrest. Her body was found only a few feet away from her vehicle, which had been pulled over on the side of the road. The reasoning behind her death as well as her killer have remained a mystery for over 35 years. According to Rhonda's parents, she'd been acting fairly strange in the weeks leading up to the attack and seemed as though she was hiding something. Additionally, her mother states that she'd asked oddly specific questions about the legality of dating a married man. Furthermore, on the night that the shooting took place, an anonymous passerby noted seeing a tall man standing next to the driver's door of the vehicle, with Rhonda slouched over the steering wheel. The witness stated that he had no idea that Rhonda was dead at the time, otherwise he would have phoned police. The only information he was able to provide was that the man was driving a Trans Am that was parked just a short way down the road. Of the many questions that remain unanswered, the most important is obviously who was this man? Also, if this man did shoot Rhonda intentionally, why did he drag her body from the vehicle only to leave her car parked on the side of the road? Also, if this were an accident, why was it not reported? And again, why was Rhonda removed from the vehicle? Sadly, her family may never know. Number 1. On Christmas Day in 1996, 30-year-old Patty Vaughn left her home in Texas but never returned. Her van was found just 15 miles away from her home the following day. One of the tires was found to have been flattened and trace amounts of blood were found throughout the van as well as a jumpsuit. According to her friends and family, just before leaving her home, Patty had gotten into a heated argument with her ex-husband, then simply left and drove away. The two had 3 children together and had separated just 2 months earlier. It's believed that her husband had gotten uncomfortable when seeing Patty dating another man while the two were still legally married. Even stranger is that the day after her body was found, her husband filed for divorce. After authorities searched her van, they then moved on to her home, where they found additional blood which had been soaked up by a mop. After further analysis, they found that Patty's carpets had been recently shampooed as well. DNA tests then confirmed that the blood from both the van and the home were Patty's. Though if that weren't enough, about 2 months after Patty's death, her mother burst into her ex-husband's home and attacked him with a baseball bat, prompting him to take his kids and leave the city. Though it was later revealed that the husband had been at work at the time that Patty was reported to have gone missing, meaning that there was no way that he could have been involved. Years later, additional DNA tests were performed on the contents of Patty's, which identified that there was another woman present at the time that Patty was killed. Though the DNA of this possible suspect didn't match anyone in the police database, and to this day, the case remains unsolved. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.